I want to talk to you about COVID and the pandemic and the response.
Please do.
Okay, well, let's start with vaccinations. You have a goal of getting everyone vaccinated by the end of the school year and into going into the
I'm
fall.
hoping to have them vaccinated, Patrick, before they go home from school. I'm putting a big effort in trying to get all my students vaccinated before they go home.
How realistic is that? Where do the numbers stand right now?
We don't know. It's pretty hard to determine it, but I keep putting out social media, and I'm talking to the chancellors. I'm giving speeches, and I'm contacting students individually to say, please understand that we're going to allow you to come on our campuses and not have to be tested if you get vaccinated, and that's a big incentive. And so we've already made that assumption that a lot of students would rather be vaccinated than have to go through the testing each week. And therefore, we're expecting a great turnout to be vaccinated before the beginning of the fall. I'm hoping to get at least 85 to 90% of our students vaccinated before they come back to school next fall.
I want to ask you about a few things with that. Let's start with that percentage. Why that percentage? And
just something I just talked about. I have no way of determining that. I just want as many students vaccinated as I possibly can.
To reach herd immunity? So you can reopen campuses and
No, we made the decision to reopen the campuses last year. That was a tough decision because a lot of the chancellors did not want to open up, but I made the decision we're going to open up, and we have been successful. It has been a great year. Even considering the pandemic, we have had good classes, good participation, going to have a good graduation, and I'm very happy about that. We were able to get everybody online and in person to agree that we're going to open up school.
when I say reopen, though, I mean to get everyone back on campus and get life to the way it was, because you've thrown out a 75% number, and there have been a couple different explanations. Is it 75% of classes that you want to be in person next year?
Yes.
It is, okay.
So I want 75% of the students to have in-person classes. I want 75% of the classes in person. And that's pretty much what it was before the pandemic. Now, people don't understand that. They say, well, why don't you go at 100%? Well, we've never been at 100% because some courses are better taught and are better able to absorb and to learn from online. And so we've always had somewhere around 15 to 20% of our classes and courses online. And so the 75% gets us back almost to normal. And that's what I want to be starting in the fall.
And you see vaccination as a key to getting to that point?
Oh, absolutely. The vaccinations are extremely important. But if they're not vaccinated, we're going to keep testing. We're going to make sure that our universities are as safe as we possibly can be. We've also instilled, Patrick, and this is something I'm really proud of, we've instilled a cultural responsibility with our students. Our students wear masks. We have a mandatory mask policy. And so students wear masks. They social distance, and they are also getting tested on a weekly basis, and they also believe very much in doing everything they personally can do to keep their campus open. They want to be here. They want to be socially involved with other students, and that's why it's so important to get them back in class. It's not only the learning in the classroom, it's also learning how to be an adult, being mature about interaction with each other and learning from each other. It's a social involvement as well as an educational involvement that makes college so important. I want to make sure that every student gets that experience. The same experience you had before you came out to Wisconsin, the same experience I had as a college student, the same experience that Jason, your cameraman, had when he went to college. I want students to be able to learn to harmonize with other students, to get the best education and as safe as possible.
The what if in this, what if you don't hit your vaccination number? Can you still get to that 75% as far as classes go? What's your plan B if you don't get to that point?
There's no plan B. We're going to succeed. I don't accept failure. I want to make darn sure that we open up. The chancellors are on board. Some chancellors are saying, Tommy, I can go to 80. Some chancellors said I can go to 85%. The chancellors are all involved with me making this happen. We're all putting out our our educational missiles, messages, however you want to put it, to the students to tell them to get vaccinated. If you get vaccinated, you won't have to be tested. If you get vaccinated, you won't have to wear a mask all the time. If you get vaccinated, you're going to be able to make sure that we have the 75% in-person classes. And the students have responded. When I opened up the classes, contrary to a lot of people who were in opposition to that, we made a decision we're going to have a mandatory mask policy in order to protect the professors, the instructors, the employees, and especially the students. And the students responded tremendously. It was that culture of responsibility. They come around, and if you're not wearing your mask, they'll tell you so on your campuses. And I think that points out to how mature and adult these students really are.
So if I hear you correctly, next school year, come fall, it will not look like this school year on
that's
UW
true.
campuses.
It's going to be better. It was good this year considering all the obstacles we encountered. You know, we encountered the pandemic. We encountered, had to close down the Madison campus for 2 weeks. Had to close down the La Crosse campus for 2 weeks. Had to close down River Falls campus for 2 weeks. And we had to wear a mask. We had to make sure that everybody sanitized their hands when they were out or meeting with people. No handshaking, social distancing. All of this were obstacles, but the students came through it loud and clear. They were extremely well alerted and well accustomed, and they were able to do it all themselves. I was very happy for them, and I was happy because of what they were doing.
The opt-out of testing initiative that you're talking about, that's where someone who's been fully vaccinated can prove that they're fully vaccinated. They no longer have to take the weekly COVID test.
That is correct.
You've called it a privilege, not a vaccine passport. How is it not a passport if some people are given privileges and others are not?
Because it is a privilege. It's a privilege, that the federal government is giving us the vaccine. It's a privilege that everybody has this opportunity. And it's that opportunity that's the privilege. It is that opportunity that allows students to be able to get vaccinated and not have to go through the testing process. And I am confident all the students that I talk to are anxious to get vaccinated. They want to get vaccinated. They don't want to go through the testing, and they want to get back to normal as much as possible. The one clarion call that I hear from all the students, get us back in class, Mr. President, Tommy, get us back in class, let us be educated, let us be involved with our friends, let us date, let us go out and have a few parties, let us be college students. And I said, I'm going to do everything in my power to let you be college students and to have the good life of being a college student. Work hard, study hard, play hard, and enjoy your university because your university is there for you, the student.
You were clear, though, not to call it a vaccine passport. I know that's been a controversial term, but it does open up a new opportunity for someone who goes that route and gets vaccinated.
But that's true, Patrick, but I want to tell you the federal law. I used to be Secretary I'm putting on my public health hat now. I used to be Secretary of Health, and you were out in my office, so I know you knew that. And it's called an experimental vaccine. That's what these vaccines are. They haven't been on the shelf long enough, haven't been in people's arms long enough to get rid of that nomenclature, an experimental vaccine. It is against the law, or the federal policy, not the law, the federal policy, to mandate vaccinations on experimental vaccines. That's what this is. So we're not breaking the policy. We're allowing this to be something that you volunteer for. Doesn't mean we're not putting pressure on you, not trying to educate you, not trying to convince you. All of this is true. We're trying to do that. But we're not forcing you to have a vaccine in order to come to our colleges. I don't want to be in violation of the law or the policy. I don't want to be in violation of somebody's religious, political, or idealistic views about being opposed to all vaccines. That is your decision. But I came out, I got vaccinated, all my children have been vaccinated, and I'm going out and doing everything I possibly can to convince the Patricks of our colleges, get vaccinated. It is safe, it's a good vaccine, it'll protect you, and you will be able to get back to a normal life much sooner. I know me, when I got vaccinated, I felt a tremendous relief. And I think you probably did the same thing, Patrick. It's a relief to get vaccinated. And I want students to know that. And I want them to know that they don't have to go through that weekly testing, which sometimes can be a pain and a bother and a burden. And I want them to know if they get vaccinated, they won't have to do that. And that's important.
Is it currently in place across the UW system, that opt-out policy, or is that still to come? Is it still in the works?
The vaccines haven't been there long enough. You know, it is the policy right now. It is the policy. I want to be clear on that. But a lot of students don't have that. On the Madison campus, you have the badge, the Bucky Badger card that flashes red or green to determine if you've been vaccinated. Most campuses don't have that yet. So it's pretty hard to make that determination. Plus, you got to wait 2 weeks after your second dose if you get the Moderna or the Pfizer. It's one dose for the J&J. But you have to, for the other 2 vaccines, you have to get 2 doses, and after the second dose, you have to wait 2 weeks. So we're talking about a lot of students that haven't been fully vaccinated yet. And so we really haven't had that many come in and say we don't have to be tested. We're still testing on all of our campuses, but it's going to be more and more that are going to be fully vaccinated and have the 2-week stay, and they'll be able to avoid getting tested.
How much longer will testing last? Do you still think there'll be some component of it come fall on campuses?
I hope not, but I can't say for sure. I'm going to do first off, the first rule of Tommy Thompson, me, is that we want to make the university as safe as we possibly can. If I have to, I'm not going to fudge on that at all. I want to make sure that all of our campuses are safe for our professors, our instructors, and our employees, and our students especially. Once I make sure of that, and I can do it without testing, we'll be done with testing.
You mentioned your time as Health and Human Services Secretary, yes, and the war room that you had set up, and you did give me a tour of that about 16 or 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And back then, you were showing us and talking about everything you could track on a global scale, right, viruses, for example, and how you could respond to that. I'm curious what lessons you learned from your time there and from your experience there that you've been able to apply here in response to this pandemic.
Right after this interview, I'm going to take you up to the 19th floor. And I built another war room. Only in Madison, it can't be called that, so I'm calling it the operational room. So my room up on the 19th floor is the same kind of a room that I build out there to track. I tracked viruses when I was secretary. I'm tracking the testing on all of our campuses. Every morning at 9:30, we go upstairs to the 19th floor. Not this past week because we had to move out of this building because it's falling apart. But we'll be moving back in after they take off the panels. We'll be moving back in, and every morning at 9:30 to 10:30, we get we collect all the data from all the campuses. We know every single day how many people have been tested, how many students, and how many public. We have both the traditional, which is on our campuses, and we also have the community tests. And we know exactly where the virus is and how many people have been tested, how many are positive and negative, every single morning. So I learned that from my days as Health and Human Services. You got to have a room that can collate and collect all that information. We do it here on the 19th floor, and I want to take you up and show you that. It's not quite as big or as ornate as my war room out in Washington in the Department of Public Health, but it does the purpose. So I learned that to have a place where you can go to get instant information so you can make the correct answers.
I look forward to that. I can't wait to see that upstairs. I do want to ask you about your time as a politician. You've also worked as Health and Human Services Secretary. I'm sure along the way you've dealt with multiple challenges. Now you're dealing with a pandemic,
Right.
As head of the university system. Where does this rate up there in terms of challenges that you've faced in your career?
9/11 was the biggest. I was the person that was on duty when 9/11 happened, and I had to get 100 tons of medical supplies up to New York by 5 o'clock that day. I was the only one to be able to get a plane in the air from CDC to deliver the 100 tons of medical supplies and equipment to the city of New York in order to take care of their needs. And that was the worst because nobody knew how bad it was. Nobody knew if we were going to have more attacks. Nobody knew about what was going on. But this pandemic is more deadly and more insidious than even the 9/11. 9/11 was more spectacular, bigger, because nobody had ever expected the United States, somebody would attack the United States. But this one is the hidden enemy, and you can't really defend yourself until we got the vaccine. Now we can defend ourselves with the vaccine. But nobody knew this. This was something that came in from China, we assume, and it's spreading throughout the world. And we've had more people die from this than there have been in the Second World War. And that just points out how terrible and how insidious it is. This almost stopped the United States. We were able to get through it. We're almost through it, but we're gaining on it every single day. It was a terrible, terrible thing. So 9/11 was huge and big and problematic, and so is the pandemic. I'd put both of them on an equal par.
You're coming up on 1 year as interim
Yes.
president. What's your timeline? How much longer do you plan to
It's
be in
not
this
my
position?
timeline, it's the Board of Regents. They asked me to come in and serve, and I'm serving. I turned them down the first time and came back and told them I would take it after they came back and asked me again. But I said, I'm not going to be a caretaker president. If you don't want change, don't have me, because Tommy Thompson, I believe in change. And I believe the university needed to be changed. And I'm changing the University of Wisconsin in many different ways. And you can look at my board over there. There's 50 items going up there that are all being worked on, which I think improved the University of Wisconsin. And we're making those changes. Plus we're dealing with the pandemic. Plus we're testing and vaccinating. And we're making the university the place where the repository, if you got a problem, come to the university. We're here to serve and to help solve the problems for the state of Wisconsin. And that is a big responsibility. The Board of Regents so far have not started the search. I don't know when they're going to start a search for the next president, but every one of them tells me that they like what I'm doing, want me to continue, and for how much longer, I don't know, but it'll be for a while.
But you have no plans at this point in leaving. You're going to stay on.
But sooner or later, it's got to come to an end. And
well, is there any chance you drop the interim title and you just stay on as president?
that's up to the Board of Regents.
Are you interested?
I'm not saying.
Have there been conversations?
That's for the Board of Regents. I mean, I'm not in their providence at all. The Board of Regents has got to decide. I told the governor I could leave tomorrow if he wants me to. I told the Board of Regents whenever they get tired of me and tired of my leadership, just tell me. I'll be more than happy to lead. I can go back to leave. I can go back to my businesses. I can go back to my farm, which I duly love. But it's up to them. I'm here to serve and I'm here to solve problems. And I think we're doing that. I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. I got a great staff. I couldn't be doing all these great things without having tremendous people around me. And I couldn't tell you how great they are. They're just, every single one of them, I think, is a true A+ student.
It sounds like you enjoy the job.
I enjoy fixing things, Patrick. I always have. When I was governor, I changed everything as governor. And I tried to, every time I look at a situation, to try and improve. I want to make things better. I want to make the university more modern. Our computer system is way outdated. Our procurement system was way outdated. We put in a brand new procurement and payment system which started yesterday. I want to put in a completely new human relations program. I want to set up a whole new payroll system which kicks in on July 1st, which I've done. I dislike the status quo. I think the status quo means you're going backwards and you're accepting defeat. I want the University of Wisconsin to be the diamond, the jewel that everybody expects. And I really believe that we're an economic dynamo. We create jobs, 37,000 of our graduates every year. 37,000 we graduate, and 90% of them stay in and help build Wisconsin for 5 years. Now that's a fantastic return on your investment. And I also just was out to the engineering school, which we need to build a brand new engineering school. We got so many engineering applicants that want to come in and become engineers, and we can't take care of them. And out of the graduating class this year in the engineering school alone, Patrick, we have 900 graduates. They have 10,000 job offers. 10,000 for 900 students. And those employers are telling me and telling the engineering school, please, please graduate more engineers. We need that. We're graduating, about 45% of our students now are in the STEM or in the healthcare fields. All of our colleges are looking at occupations and professions that are badly needed in the state of Wisconsin to grow, like nursing, like doctors, like teachers, like engineers, like computer scientists, like fisheries. All of these are areas that I want the university to grow, and I want the university to be the best that it possibly can. And I tell people that next to its people, our people are the most important asset we have as a state. But next to that is the University of Wisconsin system. I just want to make it bigger and better than it's ever been before.
It sounds like you're preparing for a marathon, not a sprint.
I am in it for the long haul until the Board of Regents tells me time to go home.
What about politics? Any interest in going back into politics?
You never say never. You never say never, Patrick, in politics. But I'm getting up in that. I'm getting a little long in the tooth, and same age as the president, so I guess I'm not too old. But I'm enjoying myself right now, and we'll see what happens for the next chapter of Tommy Thompson's life, if there is one.